me okay? Hopefully that should work out all right. Today, hopefully I don't have too many technical difficulties. All right, got my mic here. Hopefully you can hear me and everything is all right. All right, halito everybody, welcome back. This is CT over the NYC Indian, and today we're going to be reviewing Seeking Sister Wives. Oh boy. Okay. So I hope you guys saw the episode. I was a little bit busy yesterday. I couldn't review it then, but here we are today. All right. So the episode starts off with Sidian. And Sidian finally decides, after hemming and hawing whether he shouldn't, he feels pressured. Maybe it's too soon. I'm not sure, but I flew all the way over here. What's going to happen to my frequent flyer miles and all of this? He finally decides to propose to Ariel. So, I guess they said things were getting closer between the two, and they exchanged I love yous, and so I guess they're all in love or whatever. So now he gets or not Sasha, what's her name, Tasha. He gets Tasha on the phone, and she's all happy, and it just seems very weird. Like I'm still not convinced 100% that Ariel is really into this. I think she sees this as a come up, and I'm sticking to that until I see further notice. And one thing that also has me skeptical about this is that the fact that she hasn't talked about her parents yet. And, it can be, a lot of families are kind of conservative where she's from. So maybe she's from a more liberal family. I don't know. But you notice that family's not on camera, right? Usually when they go overseas, if they can, they try and get as many family members on camera because they want to see who approves and who doesn't, right? Because, production is very messy. But no, this is absolutely like, oh God, I don't know. That's just a mess. So anyway, we'll see what happens when he gets back stateside and, how they're going to wind up with their 90-day fiance. I mean, this is a polyamorous 90-day fiance kind of situation this has turned into. All right, so now we go back with Marcus Epps, and what's her name, Shanae, or no, I think it's Janae. So she meets up with Marcus, and they start talking about the meeting that they had, or the meeting that she had with Taryn in India. And, she's basically saying, hey, well, Taryn was being cool. India was like trying to like sell it for me, but I'm not really sold. And, Marcus is a complete master manipulator, right? So he is convinced, or I don't know. Okay. I'm not going to say he's convinced Shanae, but at least he's got her to the point where she's sitting there and she's thinking, even though she says it's not for her, but she's like, I'm just trying to see like what this is all about. I mean, I don't know how this can work. In other words, she's like, I think what she's thinking is what I thought this was going to be was, something where it escalated to a more sexual nature for the relationship. Maybe we can just still keep that part because she thought she's going to get the full package. Perhaps, well, no pun intended, but anyway, anyway, not today. I'm not going to be that negative. All right. So she thought that, he's flying her out. I think she was under the impression that, maybe he had some entanglements, but at least he wasn't married. Right. But it seems like now she's willing to go to the level of, well, maybe I could just, we could just do our little thing separately or whatever. And then, without anybody at home being upset, since everybody seems to be down. But I don't know. Listen, she's very pretty. Okay. I can see why he's into her. So maybe she's just thinking, well, I did want to do a little bit of acting anyway. And maybe, she's kind of agreeing or, oh, hey, Sama, how are you? How you doing? Sama, where are you located? Are you in the States? Because sometimes I have no idea what time zones people are tuning in from because I'm in Seattle. So right now it's like, I don't know, 2 o'clock or so here, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But thank you for tuning in, Sama. Good to see you. I was supposed to come back with you guys with my Married at First Sight review because it was a really good episode last week. I'm digressing, but yeah, I'm going to catch up with that this week. So anyway, getting back to the whole Shanae situation. So, you know, or not Shanae, sorry, Janae. So, if Janae is thinking more along the lines of this can kind of help her career, or maybe she wants to get into something more like an artist industry or something like that, you know, use her looks, right? Because she's a good looking woman. I don't know. Because, you know, it's weird to see her even entertaining this, which makes me think that that's kind of like, you know, they're kind of like telling her like, "Oh, okay, just kind of do this for now. We know this is not your thing or whatever, but we need some more camera time." Because I mean, think about it. When it comes to the title, Seeking Sisterhood, that means that they always have to, each season, every couple that's on there has to justify their presence on the show by actively seeking out someone. So I think it's already, in my opinion, not Shanae, this Janae situation is never going to happen. She's just simply kind of playing along with it because they gotta, you know, find somebody, I guess. So, okay, so let's go on to, let's see. Oh, hi. Hey, Nikki, how are you? Oh my God, you've been watching this, right? Oh my God, that's my buddy, Nikki. She's always in the comment section, guys. Well, you guys are so great. Thank you so much for tuning in because it's a lot of fun when you have people to interact with about this craziness because this television show, let's face it, if you don't watch this show and you try to describe it to someone, they would think you're kidding, or they would think like it's a scripted show. I mean, you know, reality TV is scripted anyway. It's not all completely real, but I think these situations, I think these people really are in some ways really living like this, which is completely nuts and insane to me. Okay, so now let's go to the Davises. All right. Whew. Okay, so it starts off, they're looking for a new house. And, you know, the realtor is kind of, you know, he's standing there, he's smiling, he's talking to them or whatever. And then when they explain the family dynamic, oh my God, did you see his face? He was like, it was like, if you could see like a little thought bubble come up, it would have been, say what now? He was like, are you serious? Like, and you know, off camera, he's like, or to, you know, in the confessional, he's like, yeah, this is not, yeah, people usually want like bigger closets and man caves, but not like this kind of situation. But I guess he's like, all right, let me go ahead and just, you know, do my job, sell this house, and, you know, this will bring in publicity for him as well, right? So they're walking around the house, and here comes April talking about, okay, so here's my theory, like, hear me out. Okay, so the bed is going to have to be at least 12 feet to fit all of us. And it's like, that is so disgusting. A 12-foot bed so you can just pack in a village of people? Like, are you serious? What is this? What does Sama say? Oh, sorry, I just got to the. Oh, you're in Philly. Oh, okay, Philly. Oh, my mother is from Philly. I know. Well, I know it a little bit. My grandmother's from Germantown, so yeah, East Coast. um, so, yeah, I mean, this whole big bed situation. Yeah, exactly. A 12-foot bed for what, Nikki? So, I mean, how many people do you logically think you're going to fit in there? And, you know, and then you're going to have a brand new baby. And then I'm sure a baby's going to be in the bed. And then all those adults, that is just, it's unhealthy. It's unsanitary. It's just so disgusting. I'm sure they're not changing those sheets after all those little midnight rendezvous going from room to room. But see, he doesn't even want to do room to room. I guess that's too much of an inconvenience. He's got to be able to just like roll over and just have exactly whatever he wants. And then, but what if the other person's like 4 feet over? Then they have to roll on top of the other person? It is absolutely gross. And then she starts saying, you know, talking about April, how they need to kind of figure out what they're going to do because they want to propose to Danielle. Listen, I don't know where Danielle's people are, why her crew has not pulled her out of this situation. We need like a rescue ops mission to get these young women out of these situations because they're just too young. You know what I mean? It's one thing if you're older and seasoned and you just decided you want to put your brain on the top shelf of your closet for the day. But this is like, they're still so young. Their brains are still developing, for God's sakes. So, and you could see Danielle, how flustered she gets when he says something that she's like disapproving of, and how she doesn't stand up for herself, but she'll like talk it out. She'll justify what he's saying, even though her face is saying something completely different. And she's trying to like justify whatever it is that he's saying out loud. Well, yeah, okay, I guess, yeah. I mean, I didn't think about it that way, but I guess we could, it's absolutely nonsense. And yeah, East Coast, it's complete nonsense, right? Hold on, guys. I'm getting parched. I'm about to talk to my last breath here. Excuse me. So anyway, I mean, I'm not understanding this whole, like propose. I mean, just okay, let's think about that for a moment. So what is he proposing? Because even if he was asking for her hand in marriage, which he's got other people's hands in marriages, if he did, then you could say, okay, it's an additional spouse, but he's not married to these women. He just makes these dummies marry each other. I'm telling you something. We need to get some good LGBTQIA plus organizations on board protesting this show, or protesting at least this couple on this show. Because I mean, think about it, like it's very hard for you to, even you can think back 20 years, not even 20 years ago, not that long ago. I mean, right before Obama, same-sex couples couldn't get married. And you got these people abusing, the system of a same-sex couple. They're not a couple. So make up your mind. Do you want to be siblings? Do you want to be spouses to one another? It just doesn't make any sense. So while he's over there masterminding everything and making sure his name is not on anything, okay, he probably just makes sure that he's on that lease, and that's about it. So I'm thinking, propose to what? What are you proposing? Do you want to propose the idea of handing her a key? I mean, that's all it would be. I mean, are you serious? Because Danielle was very uncomfortable with the idea of marrying another woman. That's not what she's into. And then who do you marry? Do you marry April? Probably April, because April seems to be so gung-ho and down with everything, right? Jen's his little toy, right? The two women are a fictitious couple. I mean, they are a fictitious couple because they're not a couple. They're just not together. You know what I mean? So it's very unfair for people who've been fighting and dying and, being arrested and protesting stuff to trying to get, marriage equality rights. And then you have people like this that are completely abusing it. I personally find that a little bit offensive. But you know what? Hey, I'll give him his smart thinking points for his manipulation for coming up with that one, because I don't think they came up with that one on their own. So, so would she marry April? Because April is the one who seems to be a little bit more of, like, it seems to be in all of these situations, the first wife seems to be the kind of the mastermind behind who else is going to be brought in. And, Jen's the little plaything. She's like the young, cute thing. I mean, even you see her with her pregnant belly, she can still wear a bodycon dress. I mean, not that I would be doing that if I was pregnant, but with no judgment, people wear whatever the hell they want to wear. That's their business. But, you see her that pregnant and her legs are this skinny. Like she's a skinny woman, right? So he sees her as the youthful, like the little toy, right? So, because he was still creeping into her room even when Danielle was spending the night with him at that B&B, or no, at the Airbnb. So, so that's my first question about this whole proposal situation. And then my second question is, who in the hell is supposed to be paying for all of this? So now April, now you're gonna have another mouth. Wait, hold on. Let me just do the math here. So right now, April is financially taking care of Nick. Jen has her own money, but now, as pregnant as she is, I'm not sure. They didn't tell us if she's working or not. So let's just say, So let's just say that if Jen is not working right now, and April is then taking care of, let's not forget her son, because she has a child. So then that would mean April is taking care of her own child, plus the other big child, which is Nick, and taking care of Jen. Now I'm sure Jen, because she had a job in tech or something like that, she probably has her own insurance to take care of, like, those prenatal, or sorry, those prenatal visits and things like that. So now you're going to add it on Danielle, who we don't, I don't, do you guys remember? I don't remember Danielle's employment information. I don't remember them saying that. So, and plus now you're going to have a new baby. So let's just say Danielle has her own job. Let's just say she does. So now you're going to be caring. So April would be caring for her own child, Nick, Jen, and Jen's baby, and herself. And so that's so she would have to basically feed 5 people. And if Danielle comes in and it's not working, then that's 6 people. How much fucking money is this woman making? I just need to know, like, does she have, is there like a trust? I mean, I'm assuming there's no trust fund from the family since she got basically excommunicated from the family, right? So I'm just assuming there's, she, whatever she has is just whatever she has to earn on her own. So, while little man over here is, we see previews for the next episode while they're putting black eyeshadow on him. For what? He already has dark circles around his eyes. Get with the goddamn program. I can't stand this man. I think he's just so disgusting. I'm okay. Anyway, I'm jumping ahead. So now they've decided as a collective, okay, well, maybe, the house is not quite the size that they want it to be, but let's still go ahead and get ready to propose to Danielle. Now, what I'm thinking, okay, this is my own theory. Well, I shouldn't even say alleged, because a theory is nothing alleged about a theory, but it's, we'll just say allegedly. I feel as though that April, her plan is to just she wants Danielle to come in so bad because she know his ass is not going to get a job. Brand new baby or whatever, he's not going to work. So she's going to have to provide, financially for that house. She's going to be the breadwinner. So I think she wants Danielle to come on, assuming that Danielle is going to be working. I don't remember, but I don't recall, but my memory is not telling me that they had any conversation about Danielle getting pregnant or getting pregnant right away. If that's what I remember. If you guys remember anything different, let me know in the comment section. But as far as I know, they didn't have plans on Danielle having a baby right away. Because if they did, then who the hell's going to pay for that baby? Like, or maybe are there plans to do, is there, what's going on? Because he's a moocher, right? We all know that. That's obvious, and a master manipulator. So is there, and I'm just asking the question, is there any kind of like, I don't know, welfare going on here? Is there any kind of things that, like applications for different types of assistance? I mean, because, people do stuff like that all the time. Because if he's not married, he can just claim himself as single and unemployed. You can get food stamps and stuff like that. But I don't know, because I guess different states have different things. I know, like, because I'm from New York, as I know in New York, they made like, I'm trying to think. I remember back in the 90s, like they would make it really hard for people. And no, this was in the early 2000s, sorry. And they would make people go on, I think my friend was saying like she had to go on you had to go for a job interview, like so many job interviews per week to basically, to like justify the money, or otherwise they would cut off your benefit. So you had to like actively be looking for work. So, but maybe that's different states. Because if you live in a state that maybe doesn't make you do that, then, maybe you just get your public assistance and go on. I mean, and the reason that I bring this up, because I mean, these are the type of logistics that, you have to think of. I mean, they're not putting that on the forefront, but right now there's 2 women working. Possibly they're down to 1 income. Let's see. What does Samaz say? Samaz said, I heard someone say that it's common. Yes, this was, I was about to say, yes. So yes, in polygamous families, well, at least from what I understand in Utah, the ones that practice that fundamental type of, I don't know. I won't say Mormonism because the Mormons say, oh, that's not us. That's how we used to be. We don't practice that anymore. In the modern day, LDS like to distance themselves from people that do the polygamy stuff. But yes, welfare scams and frauds are off the roof. They're just off the charts in that state. I don't know if it's still right now, if they clamp down on that, but a lot of the public officials and stuff are part of that church. You know, the whole Utah thing, it's a very Mormon state. So, you know, it's difficult for people that are stuck in those situations, the little girls getting married off and stuff like that. That's another thing that comes to mind with this whole polygamous thing that really disgusts me, and it makes me think of, you know, the first thing I think of are like pimps, like going after, you know, high school girls and stuff like that. And then the other thing I think of are those like, you know, compounds of like, you know, pedophiles in Utah. I mean, it's horrendous. And yes, it is sad for little girls. I mean, this is, you know, because we think about all the things that, you know, getting a little bit more serious here, we think about all the things that happen, you know, that people in law enforcement that have to deal with. They see all the nooks and crannies and dark corners of society, but, you know, and we think about like child brides and stuff and how that happens in other countries. But you know, right here in the United States, you know, you never know, someone in your neighborhood could be that, you know, having like a child slave cleaning their house and stuff. So that's why this kind of thing to me is very touchy. I hate it. And that's why I have no problem coming in here and getting in front of the camera and just talking shit every week. Let's see. So yes, but getting back to the whole you know, the welfare scams and things like that. I mean, I'm just spitballing here because somebody's got to be paying for this, and it might be me and you or whoever lives in whatever state that, you know, the taxpayers that are living in that state. So you know, but that's what master manipulators do. They know how to fill out forms and change a number here and do stuff. They know how to get around the system. And he's not one of those old scammers like in there, you know, from whatever generation where they were only used to doing things on paper. He's from the generation where he would know how to, you know, do some things electronically. It'd be only just saying he's within that generation. I'm not saying he's doing it. I have no idea. But these are the kind of questions that are going through my mind. So I want to hear more about these finances. Who is going to be paying for these children? You know, Danielle's like, I just really want to have a big family and I want to bring in more children. I want like a couple more kids and a couple more wives and stuff like that. So, I mean, if you're just lonely and need a best friend, I mean, there's other ways to go about doing that. I mean, I don't understand. She's just drank the Kool-Aid for so long, but somebody's got some splaining to do, okay? And if you all are old enough to remember, I Love Lucy, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, all right, yeah, I feel like there's still more that I want to say about that, but I'm going to go into the Merrifields. Maybe something will come to mind. If you guys have anything that you want to talk about, just put it in the chat. So, all right. So the Merrifields. All right. So the whole freaking episode was, you know, the title of the episode was it Brazil or Bust, something like that, was dedicated to their storyline, them going down to Brazil. So, you know, I don't know if it's day 2 or whatever it is, like in TV land, but, you know, it's the next day. And, you know, they're in their taxi with the interpreter in the back, and then they have Roberta on the side. And they are just, you know, it's really funny because those of us who have not traveled, well, I mean, I've traveled a little bit, but not, you know, not like, you know, I've been to Hawaii. Okay. That's not like, it's not another country, but, you know, well, I mean, it just depends. You know, I'm an indigenous person, so like I do not recognize the illegal annexation of Hawaii to the United States. It was taken away from their queen, but that's a whole nother story. But I don't consider, you know, Hawaii is technically not another country, but in some ways it kind of is. But, you know, I've traveled, so I can say I've traveled half of an ocean, but I've never gone to Europe or, you know, Asia or Africa or something like that. And I feel as though with the Merrifields, you know, in some ways I can relate to them as a person who's lived their life here in the States and, you know, have seen things on TV or whatever, but it's a different story once you are living there, right? So seeing it for the first time. right? So I mean, you're just the American in the cabin. You're looking around, and I've seen footage, but they seem like they never even seen footage. I mean, I would be a little bit surprised, but they seem to be like very clueless about Brazil. They're like, "Oh my God, I can't believe the poverty." Oh, and it's like, have you never seen, like, they're just, I don't know, they don't picture, they just don't, they, they're a little bit, they're a little bit crazy. Okay, the Merrifields are extra creepy. Both Garrick and Danielle, both of them are extra creepy, right? But it's like they don't strike me as a couple that's like particularly cultured. Like, you can be not very well traveled but still be cultured and have some idea of how other people live in other countries. And I mean, haven't you heard of the favelas? Haven't you watched a Brazilian film? I mean, have you not got some, have it like began to spark some interest in Brazilian culture now that you're with this Brazilian woman? They just seem completely clueless. Like, Brazil still has a lot of poverty, and just like the interpreter was saying, the gap between the haves and the have-nots is so huge that, one thing I've watched. I mean, listen, like I said, I've never been there, but I've watched documentaries and interviews about Brazilian society, Brazilian economy, the struggles that they have with racism, how people identify very kind of strangely, like almost how it parallels like Jim Crow, and it's very like how we have a very complex racial system here. They have one in Brazil as well. It's very fascinating. But my point is, I'm not a contractor. I don't own my own, construction company. Like, but I know how to, YouTube a simple video to learn a little bit about it. So I just feel like there was none of that. I mean, did you not want to maybe go to a Brazilian film festival because it reminded you of her? Like, there just seemed to be no idea. They just seem to be so shocked of the poverty. And I was like, you people are just so weird. I guess maybe I'm just expecting more from you. I'm expecting too much from them anyway. And Danielle, she's just such an oddball. Garrick is so disgusting. So let me just say what I was. Let me say what I was thinking about that. So yeah, they're driving through Rio, and then they go past her school, and they're like, "Oh wow, that's her school." And then they go past like her little birthday. They called it a maternity ward or something, like it was like a birthing center. Maybe they have something, a place for women to have babies versus going to a regular hospital. That's what I gathered from it, and all these little sites and things like that. And they're just so shocked. And it's time for them to hold on, guys. Let me just take a look here, because I wrote something down because I wanted to make sure that I said that. Okay, yes. So I think I think Garrick's, I think like what his conclusion was, and maybe not a conclusion, but like his process of like, oh my God, the poverty was just like more of a shock, and hers and Danielle's was more of a shock